Hi, this is Dawn from Ninja Bunny Crochet. Today I have this Bean Stitch Cowl. There's also a matching hat and fingerless gloves that I will put the link to those in the description box below. I used Red Heart's Colorscapes yarn to make this. This is a medium 4 worsted weight yarn. It's 100% acrylic. The color I used was called Munich. You do not have to use this yarn. You can use any worsted weight medium 4 yarn that you want. Each one of these balls is 187 yards. I used a little over 1 ball to do this cowl. To do the hat and fingerless gloves, you're going to want 3 balls of Colorscape yarn because you're going to use about 2.5 balls to do the whole set. To do the cowl, you're going to use a 6.5mm or K crochet hook. You're going to need a pair of scissors and a yarn needle to weave in your ends. So, if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of my tutorials, and let's get started making this Bean Stitch Cowl. To start the Bean Stitch Cowl, we're going to start with a slip knot on our hook. Make sure it can slide up and down your hook, and we're going to chain 30. Once you have your chain of 30, flip the chain over and we're going to work in these back loops. So second chain from hook, single crochet in each one of those chains all the way across your chain till you get to the end. When you get to the end of the chain, I'll meet back up with you at the end. Okay, I'm at the end of the chain. I have 29 single crochets. To start round 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn the work. Single in the first stitch, then we're going to skip the next stitch and bean stitch into the next. To do a bean stitch, you're going to insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert again into the stitch, pull up a loop. You should have 4 loops on your hook at this point. Yarn over again, insert into the stitch, and pull up a loop. You will have 6 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yarn over again, pull through all 6, chain 1 to complete the stitch. Skip the next stitch and you'll insert into the next, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert again, pull up a loop, 4 loops at this point, yarn over, insert again, pull up a loop, again 6 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 6, chain 1 to complete the stitch. Now you've done 2 bean stitches. This is going to be the repeat pattern all the way down to the end of the row. Skip the next stitch and bean stitch into the next. do apologize for that little tap, 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 tap that was in the background there. That is my little rats. They are playing with their water bottle. So continue this till you get to the end of the row, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the row. So I'm at the end of row 2. We have 2 stitches left. In the last stitch, we're going to place a single crochet. Chain 1 and turn the work. To start row 2, or excuse me, to start row 3, we're going to single crochet in the first stitch, and then we're going to place a bean stitch in the chain 1 space. So not on top of the first bean stitch, but in that chain 1 space, which is right here. So you might have to pull your bean stitches apart a little bit, but you'll see it. It's right here. So right there. So you can insert your hook and pull up a loop. Yarn over, insert, and pull up a loop. Yarn over, and pull up a loop. So you have 6 loops on your hook. Pull through all 6 and chain 1 to complete the stitch. And go on to the next chain 1 space, which is right here. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over. One more time, and you have 6 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 6, and chain 1 to complete the stitch. Continue bean stitching, making bean stitches across the row, and I'll meet up with you at the end, and your final stitch of the row will be a single crochet in the single crochet. So your first stitch and your last stitch will always be a single crochet. So continue with the bean stitch, and I'll meet up with you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of round 3. We have 13 bean stitches. We're making our last stitch a single crochet. We're going to chain 1 and turn the work. Now for rounds 4 through 11, it's going to be a repeat of round 3. So what we're going to do is start with our single crochet in the first stitch, and then bean stitch in each one of the chain 1 spaces, just like we did in round 3. Round 4 is a repeat of round 3. And you're going to continue repeating round 3 until you have for rounds 4 through 11. Once you've completed rounds 4 through 11, I will meet back up with you to start round 12. I'm at the end of round 11. We've got 13 bean stitches still. To start round 12, we're going to chain 2 and turn the work. Now the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. So in this very first stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet. In the bean stitch, we're going to do 2 half double crochets. And in each bean stitch, we're going to place 2 half double crochets. all the way across. When you get to the last stitch, the single crochet at the end, place 1 half double crochet. I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 12. We have 28 half double crochets. To start round 13, we're going to chain 2 and turn the work. This round we're going to place 1 half double crochet in each stitch across. So continue all the way across, and I'll meet up with you at the end of the round. We're at the end of round 13. We're going to chain 1 and turn the work. Now for rounds 14 through rounds 49, we're going to repeat rounds 2 through rounds 13. And we're going to do that 3 times. So again, for rounds 14 through rounds 49, we're going to repeat rounds 2 through 13. So to start round 2 again, or round 14, we're going to single crochet in the first stitch, skip the next stitch, and bean stitch into the next. Skip the next stitch and bean stitch into the next. Again, skip the next stitch and bean stitch into the next. Okay, so what you're going to have is you're going to have 3 sections of bean stitch and 3 sections of half double crochet. So again, go ahead and complete rounds 14 through rounds 49, 49, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of round 49. I'm at the end of row 49. We have 28 half double crochets. We're going to chain 1 and turn the work. We need to place a single crochet in the first stitch, and just like before, we're going to do a section of bean stitches for rows 50 through 49. So skip the next stitch and bean stitch into the next. Skip the next and bean stitch into the next. Basically what we're doing is we're repeating rows 2 and 3 for rows 50 through 59. Once you get rows 50 through 59 completed, I'll meet back up with you to finish row 60. At the end of row 59, we have 13 bean stitches. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. For row 60, We're going to single in the first stitch, and we're going to place 2 single crochets in each of the chain 1 spaces. Please do this all the way across, and I will meet back up with you at the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 59. I have 28 single crochet, and we're going to fasten off. Now what we need to do is weave in our ends, and then we're going to fold down the collar and add our button. So let me weave in the ends, and I'll be right back to show you how to fold down the collar and add your buttons. Okay, now we have our ends weaved in, and we're going to thread up a darning needle or a yarn needle so that we can sew on a button. First we need to fold down the collar, and how I did this in the example was that I have the collar a little bit uneven on one side, and I folded it down a little bit on this side just because I thought it looked cute, but you don't have to do it this way. You can keep yours even if you want. So how I did this is I folded it down a little bit like this, flipped it over, folded this side in like this, and then this side over like this. So you can straighten it out just like that. Then you attach your button down here like so. This side or this side, whichever side you want on your button. So let me bring the camera down a little bit closer so you can get a better idea or a closer view of what we're doing as far as the actually sewing the button on. Okay, now we got the camera zoomed in a little bit closer so we can see a little bit better on how to sew on the button. Now how I did this is I put my button on here. Now I had it like this on my other one so that the shinier side was up, as you can see. But you can also put it any way you want. So I think for this one I'm going to put it this way because I think that looks a little bit nicer. So what I did is I flipped it up so I'm not going through this part, and I went through both sides and just went ahead and sewed the button down through both pieces. I said you can sew your button down however you choose to sew your button down. Gotta kind of get it up through there. And back down again. There you go. And I said you can just kind of straighten it out and see how you want it to look. And then you can tie this off. Flip it over and tie it off. And just cut off the ends. And then you're done. Now this is going to be open here. You can place another stitch up in here or a button, however you'd like to, if you want to close that off a little bit more. that's up to you. I did place one stitch up in here on my other one this one here, I placed, as you can see, I placed a stitch right in here to keep it closed. If you want to put another button there, that's up to you. It's totally your choice what to do. It's your cowl. You can do however you want with it. So if you've liked this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of my tutorials. Thanks for watching and happy crocheting!